Welcome to the Flute Show on virtualsheetmusic.com with Florence Estrin. I'm your host, Robert Estrin. Today's subject is very important: how to hold the flute to avoid injury. Now, this isn't just about flute. There are so many instruments. My daughter Jennifer plays the violin, and if you've ever tried to hold a violin, you know it can take years just to figure out how to hold it. It's very difficult. The flute also presents challenges. We're very lucky being pianists. It's one of the most ergonomic instruments there is. And on a personal note, Florence had suffered from injury years ago and couldn't play the flute for many years, and has figured out many things that are a lifesaver that can help many flutists out there. So welcome, Florence, and I'd love to hear about this, and I'm sure everybody would be very interested in how to hold the flute to avoid injury.
Right. Well, the biggest problem is because you hold the flute this way, it's the stretch of this left arm, and many flutists end up with injuries, usually over the nerve going over the elbow, because of that extreme stretch. Now, there is a way to mitigate that, and it's actually very simple, and so I want to show it to you today. I actually found this out much later in my life from a British flutist who said, "Oh, you Americans hold the flute so funny. Why do you do that?" And when he showed me, at first it was like, wow, what is this? I don't even understand it. But it's so simple and it's so great. Because if you watch, now say if I'm going to play to an audience, and I have my audience out there, here's where my music stand is. Instead of standing facing the music stand like this, I face to the right. Now watch if I just pick up the flute as if I'm playing to go this way. Look at the stretch of my left arm. Now, I pivot over my left side, facing the music stand, and look at the difference in the stretch of the arm. It's so simple. And the same thing when you're playing sitting, instead of having the chair facing the music stand like this, face it to the side and play over your left leg or hip. And then you have a much more comfortable position. And that's all there is to it.
That's brilliant. You know, it's just like I see pianists sometimes, and their bench is like much too close and they're uncomfortable, or they can be too high or too low. You notice I always play with an adjustable tabouret. Very important, because you can do a lot of strain if you're playing like this too high or too low, and if your wrists are bent, you know you're doing something wrong on the piano. So sitting properly and holding your instrument properly is imperative on all instruments. Love to hear from all of you, any instrumentalists, any tips or tricks you have to avoid injury and how you hold your instruments. Thanks so much for joining us here. Once again, our flute expert, Florence Estrin. I'm Robert Estrin here at virtualsheetmusic.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.